Assuming the tagger has been set to a device role of player, and is not locked, then when the tagger is turned on, the boot screen will appear after a few seconds. To unlock any device, hold down the red and black buttons while turning the unit on, then push the red button when the screen says SATR in it. A trigger pull on the boot screen will take you to a live game. For all devices to work in a game, you have to pull the trigger or push the green button. To enter the common menu, in which you will find commonly used options, push the red button on the boot screen. If you push the black button on the boot screen, it will take you to the uncommon menu. This is especially useful to change the device role or theme. While in the boot screen, the top left-hand corner of the LCD will list the alias name of this device. If no alias has been selected, then it will say no alias. An alias is normally set by the Windows SATR Hub or SATR Go applications. This requires the purchase of a custom dongle from Battlefield Sports. The top right corner shows the difficulty level. On the second line, to the left, is the theme, while the battle number followed by the team letter is on the right. Importantly, for devices to work together, they have to be on the same battle. Players set to the same team can't tag each other unless friendly fire is turned on. The third line starts with the language, and on the right is the voltage of the device. If the unit is below 6 volts, it should be recharged before use. The bottom line will show the current emulations such as Cobra or Commando. It will also scroll through to the current code version. After a trigger pull on the boot screen, the tagger is now ready to play. Typically, the team needs to be set before a game starts. The easiest way to do this is with the master controller. In common settings, use the Set Team command. Your options will include red, blue, purple or any team, among others. Any refers to no team. In a public session, you are unlikely to want teammates tagging each other by accident, and therefore you should set them to teams, for example red team, blue team, and purple team. To see what a tagger is currently set to, check the device's LCD. The team is shown on the right-hand side of line 3. An uppercase letter, such as capital R, means the device is set to red team with friendly fire off. If the R is lowercase, friendly fire is on, then all taggers can hit this one, even other members of red team. Top left shows the player's health points after the letter H. The number before the slash is the current health. The number after is their total amount of health. Usually in Battlefield tag this is 5. The top right has the ammunition in the current magazine followed by the magazine maximum capacity. The second line has the details of the emulation in the current slot, in this case, the Cobra. The system will then scroll automatically to show how many reloads are left. Battlefield tag defaults to unlimited reloads. The third line has T for tags, D for deactivations, and S for reactivations. The last line starts with the current status. This will normally be ready, but could be reloading, paused, or over. The fire mode is the action of the current emulation. The most common is FA, meaning fully automatic. SA stands for semi-automatic. During a timed game, the bottom right-hand side of the screen will show the time left in the game. When a game ends, the player can see their statistics by pulling the trigger to scroll through the normal screen, game stats, and session stats. Game stats are the statistics for the last game. Session stats is all the games combined since the last time the tagger was turned on, a clear stats command was issued, or a briefing command was issued. The alias of this tagger will also be shown on the top line. A is for accuracy, as a percentage. A/W is the deactivation assist to tagged ratio. A deactivation assist is every tag this player made on another player including deactivations. A tag is every tag on this player including eliminations. O is the number of times an objective was achieved, such as taking control of a game box or returning a flag or depositing money in a vault. K/D. K is the number of deactivations made on opposition players, and D is the number of times this player has been deactivated. One of the great features of the SATR3 system is any device can act as another device by simply changing the device role in the uncommon menu. One of the most common changes is setting a tagger as a master controller or medic box. All devices can be changed individually through the menus accessed via the boot screen. Please note that devices in locked state will bypass the boot screen, and you will first need to unlock your device. Similarly, to exit, recommended options requires the device to be unlocked. If the device has an infrared sensor, it can be unlocked by a master controller. The unlock command is found on the Rare Settings menu under All Devices. Alternatively, any device can be unlocked by holding down the red and black buttons on boot for a few seconds, and then when the display says SATR initialize, push the red button. After waiting for the copyright notice to complete, push the black button to enter the uncommon menu. If the theme is not BF tag, change this now. On all menus, the black and red buttons scroll up and down the list, and the trigger or green button locks in the change. It is important to note that some device roles are only available in certain themes. A reset is used to set a device back to factory default values consistent with the current theme. For this course, set the theme to BF tag and select the reset phaser any. If you don't wish to return your device to factory defaults, select no for the reset. The directing staff use a master controller to manage the taggers by radio commands and infrared commands. Radio commands affect all devices on the same battle as the controller. Infrared commands only affect the devices that the infrared beam hits. Generally, radio commands are used to start and end games. The most common use of infrared commands is to set the teams on the taggers and boxes. Each option has a voice-over to explain it in more detail. For basic operations, a simple controller is available. This is typically used in conjunction with preset equipment that has been locked. The controller can be set to a particular game so that the controller displays scoring updates on line 3 and 4 of the LCD. First, the simple controller can be very useful for those getting started as well. On the device you wish to set as a controller, scroll through the device role options and select a simple controller. Edit details should be no. Simply pull the trigger. Once back on the boot screen, pull the trigger again. The options on the simple controller are as follows. Select game. During the game, the controller will periodically update the scores. When the game finishes, the controller will collect final scores and calculate the winning team. The organizer may then choose to play this as announcement. For example, red team is victorious to all the players. Game timer. Setting up a game timer is useful to ensure a game ends on time. Standard game times include 5, 10, or 15 minutes. When the start command is issued, the timer will start. When the timer reaches 0, the controller will automatically end the game. Briefing. When you have kitted up the players and wish to provide them with instructions to start the session, use the briefing command. This will pause the players as well as clear their stats. Start. This starts all devices at once. It's one of the options that makes SATR so scalable. End. This option will end the game. Players can no longer attempt tags and, if set up, the controller calculates the winner. Find. Used at the end of your event. When you are not using them or have finished playing, turn the taggers and the battle boxes off using the key. This is done by turn it quarter anti-clockwise. All the devices will remember their previous settings so you can set up a new event quickly. We recommend using the find command to confirm everything is turned off. Red team. This will set the tagger to the red team. Blue team. This will set the tagger to the blue team. Any team. This will set the tagger to no team. Reload. This will reload the tagger. Please note, this is only required if unlimited reloads is not being used. Set volume. This allows you to adjust the volume on specific devices. The options are off, low, medium, high. The controller reset will set the taggers to medium. Reactivate. This will reactivate the target tagger. Auto reactivate. This option can be used to replace a medic box. Battlefield Sports recommends using a spare battle box where possible. Phrases. See below in the phrases section of the full controller. Switch box team. Typically, each game is run twice, changing ends after the first game. Switch box teams is a useful feature that makes it easier to run games with only one staff member. Boxes that were set to red team will change to blue team, and vice versa remotely. Refresh scores. If you have selected a game, but the scoring update is going slowly, you can refresh the scores using this option. Bright light. If the games will be played outdoors, during the day, the organizer should set the taggers to bright light using this option. A reset assumes bright light. Low light. If the games will be played indoors or at night, the organizer should set the taggers to low light using this option. This will need to be done after a reset, as bright light is the default. The other option for running sessions is to use the full controller. To set this, on the device you wish to set as a controller, scroll through the device role options, and select a controller full. Edit details should be no. Simply pull the trigger. Once back on the boot screen, pull the trigger again. On a master controller, commands are grouped by general categories. Categories can be scrolled through with the red and black buttons. To enter a category, pull the trigger. IR commands. This menu includes all temporary settings and commands issued via infrared transmission. The operator needs to point at the sensors on the target device and then pull the trigger on the master controller. IR commands do not make permanent changes to the target device's configuration. Radio commands. This menu includes all commands issued via digital radio to all devices on the same battle as the master controller. This menu also includes setting a game timer. Common settings. This menu updates permanent configuration settings by infrared transmission. All changes are retained between reboots. Configurations that are likely to change frequently are included in this menu. Especially useful for doing resets and setting teams. Common settings are also used to select the game for scoring purposes. Games include team elimination, capture and hold, multiple point capture and hold, heist, electronic capture the flag, battle royale squads, free for all and rush. Monitor. Search with radio for devices of the selected type. The user then selects the specific device, and the system returns key information about that device. Basic scoring information and team setting are shown on list of matching devices. It's useful to have an alias assigned to each device. Control. Remotely control devices on the same battle by radio. A reset can be sent to a specific device by radio, which means device roles can be changed remotely from the master controller. Phrases. Trigger pre-recorded phrases from the master controller to play on taggers on the same battle. Notably, you are victorious and change ends. Testing. System testing for the sensors and radio module. Rare settings. This menu includes all permanent settings issued via infrared transmission that are infrequently changed. All changes are retained between boots. Only one setting at a time can be altered. To return to the main menu, pull the trigger on the main menu option. Reactivate. If target tagger is deactivated, it can be reactivated using this function. New mission. Target tagger starts a new game restoring all health and ammunition. This is useful if you have sent a game start command via digital radio to the entire group, and one unit didn't start. Reload. If the targeted tagger has used at least one magazine of ammunition, then all their ammunition is restored. Pause. Targeted tagger enters a paused state. Resume. When targeted, a paused tagger returns to normal operations. Shoot. Target tagger has their hit points reduced. Total damage can be specified through the common menus on the master controller. Stealth shot. Tags without making a tagging noise. Deactivate. A shot that instantly deactivates a tagger. Jam. Causes the target tagger to be jammed, requiring a push of the reload button to clear. Mystery. Targeted taggers temporarily randomly change emulation. Interrogate. Retrieves information about the target device by targeting the device by infrared. Briefing. Prepares all taggers for a briefing. Similar to a pause command, all players are put in a paused state, however their taggers will not make any sound on trigger pull. This ensures an easier briefing. Additionally, it performs the clear stats function and restores players to full health. Clear stats. Clear all the players' stats that have accumulated. This is very useful at the beginning of each session as an alternative to resetting all stats using the key. Note that a briefing command also performs a clear stats function. End. Sends all devices into game over state. Find. Sends find command to all devices regardless of battle or state or configuration. These devices will flash their hit lights, muzzle flash, and make a siren sound effect until a trigger is pulled on them. Pause. Sends all devices on the same battle as the master controller into pause mode. Resume. Returns all paused devices to normal operations. Set timer. Specifies how long the next game will run for. Start. Starts a new game for any devices currently in paused or game over state. Note this command has no effect on taggers in ready state. If a timed game is indicated in the settings, a start command will start the timer. When the timer reaches 0, all devices on the same battle will enter game over state. Start zone. Start warnings for any players away from their battle box. This is used to warn the operator if any players are not starting in their base before the game has started. Normally set the radio strength to large circle. Stop safe zone. Stop pre-game safe zone. Switch box team. Switch boxes from red team to blue team, and blue team boxes to red. Unfind. Reverses the effect of the find command. Set team. This function allows teams to be set by infrared command. Taggers set to a team cannot be tagged by taggers on their own team. Battlefield Sports recommends that friendly fire is turned off by assigning players to teams. Select game. When a game is selected, the relevant scores will be shown on the third and fourth line of the LCD. When a game ends, the controller collects final scores and then calculates the winning team. Team elimination is calculated based on the number of respawns used. 1 point capture and hold collects the scores from the single game box in the game. Multiple point capture and hold collects scores from all game boxes in the game. Heist scores are based on the amount of money in the team's vault. With electronic capture the flag, the number of flags in each team's flag box is the score. With Battle Royale squads up to 4 teams are supported. The score shown is the number of surviving players. Ensure all taggers not in use are turned off before the game starts, and leave on all deactivated taggers until only one team has a survivor. Free for all is another version of Battle Royale, except there are no teams. The last surviving player wins. Battle Royale squads and free for all scoring will significantly slow down a master controller. It is recommended for larger groups playing these two games that a separate controller is used for scoring. When the game ends, trigger the radio end command with this separate controller to collect final scores and announce the winner. Reset all factory default settings associated with the currently selected theme. For example, if the theme is Battlefield Tag, the most common resets are phaser red and phaser blue. In this case the theme is set, and the color of the muzzle flash and head sensor hit light are also changed to match, plus the volume is set to medium, and the taggers are put in locked state. Pull the trigger while aiming at the sensors of the tagger that you want to reset. Check the head sensor flashes red to indicate the signal has been received. Set emulations. This function is used in conjunction with the change emulation command. This can be very useful for groups that want a slightly more realistic sound effect. While the Cobra emulation makes a sci-fi phaser sound, the Commando option produces a rifle sound effect when tagging. Step 1. Select the emulation by scrolling through the list, then pulling the trigger. Step 2. You will see the screen say, Change Emulation. This function updates the emulation on the target taggers. Point the master controller towards the taggers to change their emulations. The sensors will flash red to confirm the change. Set difficulty, updates the difficulty level of the target tagger. Set health, set the target tagger to a new maximum hit point level. Set battle, devices interact based on their battle. A tagger will accept radio commands, take hits, and tag others, only if the message comes from a device on the same battle. Set volume, changes the target tagger's volume. Set reloads, set the number of spare magazines on target taggers. Not normally required, as Battlefield Tag defaults to unlimited reloads. Hit rate, the minimum time between tags. A half of a second is typical. The lower the hit rate, the harder the simulation. Game adjustments allow for handicapping of one team on the fly by digital radio. Difficulty level changes the hit rate, and in the case of easy mode, also provides unlimited reloads. A new emulation for slot 1 can be assigned by radio to a selected team or all teams. Given a team a better emulation to start with can improve their chances of winning. Hit rate changes the minimum time between hits to the specified team. The lower the time, the more difficult.